Good morning, members. My time, 10 o'clock, 10:41, almost 11. After a long night, for most part, I was awake looking what's going on the market, so I can give you an update. So let's go over it. I will go over four main cryptos that we track, and of course, I'm gonna do in the afternoon selection of the possible um, categories that we track and select top five for the next week. But I'm doing this extra update because I see a potential market bottoming, at least technically for now. So all of this also depends on geopolitical situation. But for now, I think markets calmed down. Iran actually backed off from further attacks. They said that this is just one-off retaliation because of the embassy. There were no casualties in Israel. Almost 99% of the rockets and drones were taken down. So all depends what the Israel will do in the next 24, 48 hours. But I don't think that in this moment they will do anything. But nevertheless, this is just a conflict which is probably going to erupt sometime in the future. At least that is my opinion. Okay, so let's look what's going on a Bitcoin. I do track still this was my last or least favorite option for the possible correction. As you know, we looked for a triangle which was broken last night. WXY is the third option that is possible with a flat also, but they are pretty much similar. So what I want to show you this morning is that definitely we have to now consider this wave 2 and this wave 2 to be in some type of a pair, which means that the wave 3, green wave 3 is most likely the correction, which will result with a higher level without intermediary move up to 85k. If you look the wave 3 developments here, you will notice that there is no anything sizable like this wave 4, so we cannot pair any correction, as I mentioned 2 days ago, with this run on the upside. So we have to label this as a wave 3 and pair this correction with the wave 4. So what is interesting from the technical point is that we actually tested a very significant fib cluster, and also we have a very significant fib cluster on the upside. So here WXY was equal at 59,968, which we almost reached. We also have a 38.2% retracement, which was not reached, so I will not exclude potentially one more push to the lower side. And what will decide that is here. So I want to see 5 waves up beside this correction for a potential upside continuation. So will that be from here, or are we gonna see one more push up, which will then subdivide this correction? Currently, we don't know that in this moment. Okay, so because we don't have a 5 waves up, this doesn't also give us a clue now what it can be. So in that case, this will be also some type of a combination, which will be 3 waves down in W, small wave X, which is not very usual, and then this will be another ABC, which might test 38% correction with 57,578, and then actually continue higher. So as long as we trade, it also might stop at 60. So this is the area where I will be looking for, but that is not much of an importance than a confirmation in 5 waves up. Okay, so let me just add these ABCs here. It depends where this B wave. So this is the option where we're gonna test again potentially on Monday some of this area here between the 60 and 57K, and then start moving sharply higher towards the 5 waves up in a wave 1. So if I go back on daily, if you look the wave structure, the channel which makes wave 1 and wave 3 connected is actually at between 58 and 60K, and you can see that here. Let me just make it a little bit bigger or thicker. So all of this area potentially might be a place where we can find some midterm lows, but in general maybe we already did. So I don't know that in this moment, because I want to see 5 waves up testing this 71K, and then a pullback will be for me the sign that we are moving higher. Okay, so as long as we stay in this sideways consolidation without confirming price action, we cannot say that this correction is done. I will not exclude on Monday one more test of these levels and then a potential bounce on the upside, or we might see this bounce immediately, but I don't know that in this moment. So if we go on a smaller time frame, we cannot say that this is something of a 5-way move yet. Okay, so that's why I labeled it as a potential B wave. So we need to see 5 waves up to have some type of a confirmation, and I will repeat that over and over, because that is something which is important for a continuation of this bull run still on the upside. So the levels that we are going to watch is these levels here, and the zone which I think might be also tested is from 57 to 60K again, and then from there we might get 5 waves up, or we might get them from here. So this move here in 5 waves is very important for the next move on the upside, and for now we, of course, as I said, we cannot know that. As the target is concerned on the upside, I have a clustering of fib ratios above some around 100K. So if we go on a weekly, okay, I can go on a daily here and show you a couple of things. So if you look fib clustering for the wave 4 pullback, it is pretty strong. You have equality W versus Y. We also have 38% at 57.8. And if we also do the internal ABC, we will get also equality, if this is a B wave, at 58.701. So that's a pretty strong fib zone. From anywhere from here we can start moving on the upside. And if you want to track this on a smaller time frame, if we go further lower for one push, that definitely needs to produce 5 waves up and a small pullback if you want to be early with small stops. We still don't see that. So depends here or from here, I will expect potential reversal on the upside and maybe further development towards the higher level. So as the potential higher targets are concerned, we also have a clustering of the fib levels here. So here there is a 200% projection of the 1 through 3 to get the wave 5. This is that ratio, which comes at 115K. Equality between the wave 1 and the wave 5 comes at 106 to 52. And then what we can also do here is take another ratio and get 5 with the 1 plus lower levels from wave 4. So this is getting, just get me that ratio, which is 5 plus 3 plus 1, which is at 38%, is at 89, and the upper one is at, I already mentioned it, at 115. So I think that the upper cluster is more bigger than the lower one, but of course we need to pay attention what will happen here if we start moving on the upside. So any questions in that regards, guys? I think that's relatively everything clear. Of course, what do we not want to see is Bitcoin moving below this channel, testing this, let's say 50, 45K zone, because the wave count invalidation will be very close. So for now, as long as we see displays like this, we stay within the channel boundaries, we potentially test 38% potentially, but any 5 waves up from there and a pullback will be bullish for me towards these targets. So let's go and look at Ethereum, which made a significant pullback lower, and with the Ethereum now, the situation is like this. I'm still tracking this as a blue wave 4. Ethereum was a little bit more violent on the downside, so we cannot label this as WXY. I will rather label it as an ABC, but it doesn't matter much. 200 moving average now is here at 2487, but I hope we're not going to get there because the wave count invalidation is just a little bit above or below at 2445. So the wave count invalidation, which means that the wave 4 enters the territory of the wave 2, and then the wave count has to be cancelled. So for now, if you see, we are holding equality between the ABC, but we still didn't touch it. So I will leave also the probability or a possibility that we might test here one more time these levels at 2785 and then potentially continue higher. So if you look the wave structure, this was a 5 waves down, 3 waves up, a complex 3 waves up and 5 waves down. So apart from a triangle that we looked, Ether also made the complex correction, and RSI on daily, it's coming slowly towards the 30 mark, which is good. So also on the Ether, I will not exclude a little bit more downside. The key thing for Ether will be also 5 waves up, 3 waves pullback, and then a continuation further higher towards also very nice clustering, fifth wave equal to wave 1, it's here, and we also have 1618 for 3 versus 1 for this orange wave 3. So clustering comes between 4500 4600 for Ether, but the condition for it will be 5 waves up, a pullback, and then a continuation on the upside. So what we have to look for is that Ether keeps this area here intact. We don't go below the wave count invalidation level. As the timing is concerned between the wave 2 and wave 4, this is still okay. So we are at, we passed equality and we are at 138, which is one of the ratios which I mentioned already is working on Ether, and 1618 comes around, what dates are they? This is April 22nd and this is April 16, which means in 2 days. So if some of this time ratio will work, it will be these two, okay? And then we might see continuation further higher. So any break below this wave count invalidation level will put in question what's going on Ether, and then we will have to look for some other solutions. On weekly, it started to went lower, as you can see on RSI, and actually almost touching 50%. Some bounce up again, it's possible, but the fact we start moving lower can just cause a bounce when we touch a new high and then a new correction of this orange wave 4 might come. So Ether also needs to give us a 5 waves up and a pullback to confirm the further move towards these levels, and of course, I will not exclude the test of these 2,800 levels once more. So all depends where we're gonna get these 5 waves up. Okay, so Binance Coin is in flat, as I mentioned before. So this flat might be over. This one was holding very well. If you look the others, also I will not exclude one more test, but potential continuation higher might be even more prominent than the others. So also we need to see 5 waves up, a pullback, and then continuation higher in Binance Coin. And Solana went pretty much lower than I expected. So Solana, but I'm still not sure that we completed this move on the upside. So if you look daily, we even had a small wave count invalidation, but that was not on a closing basis. So if we put this chart on the line, you will see on a closing basis, we didn't touch the wave count invalidation level, and that is something we usually do. This is something which also I will address as very possible, because this type of wave fours, which are pretty kind of a sharp and long, are common thing when you are very close to the end of the bigger uptrend. So if you look where Solana actually get from these lows, it had traveled a pretty sizable road on the upside. So when you see wave fours to be big in the end of the potential cycle in the wave threes or wave fives, that is actually very common, because the market is already tired of moving on the upside and it's kind of losing momentum and strength. So the wave fours actually might be this type of things, and I have seen that over and over repeating. So I will not still change this wave count on Solana. I will still consider this to be a wave four, a deeper wave four. RSI on daily is here, and the same thing with Solana. We need to see 5 waves up, a pullback, and then a possible continuation and test of 208 or 298 300 for a potential target. And now this target changed a bit because we moved wave 4 a bit lower than from here, where it's going to present a higher target. So the test of this trend line, if Bitcoin starts moving higher, taking Ether, taking whole crypto markets higher, will be most likely at 265, 280, and even 298 for a possible target. Any break further towards this level and breaking more significantly, let's say 120, 117, 115, we will have to anchor this wave 3 here and start considering this to be a first 5 waves of this wave 4. Okay, so I don't want to see Solana moving below these levels here, because it will be a clearly more prominent wave count invalidation, and then in that case we will most likely have to anchor this wave 3 here and look for a potential start of a bigger pullback in this wave 4.